All right, in today's video, we're going to be going over some strong performing cheap fragrances. We're trying to keep this under $45 for standard size 100 milliliter bottles. All of these are going to be long lasting and decent projecting scents. We're also shooting for around, I don't know, that 8-hour mark on average, but a lot of these will extend well past that by a pretty good margin. But we're just keeping that 8-hour mark as kind of a safe spot just for appealing to as many people as possible in terms of differences in skin chemistry and a number of other things. That's always something that plays a role when we're talking performance and overall wearing experience. That's nothing that anybody can control. You just kind of have to see what works and what doesn't. These work for me. I don't think I'm the only one. Looking at the data online, it seems like these perform well for a lot of people, and so that's a lot of the reason why they've landed in this video. This first one coming in at around $40, great for spring and summer use, Azaro Chrome Parfum. Really nice release. They give us 3 notes, bergamot, sage, and fir resin. So kind of going to be more of your aromatic style, which is pretty common these days, using that sage, using that fir resin. Personally, I get maybe a little bit of a lavender or geranium mix in here as well, a little bit of a green type of smell, maybe a slight bit of like a mintiness, mostly off the opening, but that does dissipate. And then, you know, the lavender, that one, you would kind of almost expect it to be there, even though they don't list it. Usually when you're seeing sage and fir resin and you're seeing fragrances in this category, lavender is going to be hanging around somewhere. It just makes sense. A little bit of bergamot off the opening. I'm sure there's other citrus going on as well, but I think at this point, those note breakdowns are just kind of there as a general guideline, just so you can kind of have an understanding of roughly where it sits, and then you can interpret it from there. And so that's kind of what I get. You know, again, it's somewhat of a common smell. This is nothing groundbreaking. This is nothing that you haven't smelled before. Think of the category of Eau de Parfum, Ralph's Club, that sort of thing. I'm not saying that this smells like those in particular. It really doesn't, but this would be kind of the category that would fit in. You know, maybe a little bit blue, but aromatic and, you know, just kind of fresh and green as well. It's kind of where this one sits. You know, one thing about this one too is it does have a really prominent soapiness. So kind of has this clean, just stepped out of the shower type of soapy smell that makes it incredibly versatile. I mean, there's 0 situations where you could not smell like you just washed yourself, you know, when it comes down to it. So while these type of scents might be boring to some, they're just ultimately so usable to, I mean, so many people out there. Anybody could pick this up and wear it and be set for any situation. And the fact that it performs good and you can get it for around $40, that's all the better. And this next one here coming in at around about the same price, honestly, but although going to be more for fall and winter, is Ferragamo Uomo Signature. So we've got the tonka bean, we've got the sweet notes. What they're doing is they're introducing leather and coffee on top of the original Ferragamo Uomo DNA is essentially what they've done here. So the coffee gives it obviously a nice little roasted coffee bean smell, no surprise there. But the leather, that makes the bigger difference. That gives it more of a masculine, darker, heavier edge. Now in the original Ferragamo Uomo, there is like 0 masculine notes in that really. It doesn't necessarily smell like a men's fragrance in the traditional sense. It's marketed for men, guys can wear it, and it works great. Obviously, it's a super popular one. It's a favorite of mine as well. I really like it. I'm not downplaying the scent, but I'm trying to explain it. It's overwhelmingly sweet, and typically that's not what you would associate with a cologne, right? Now this one kind of basically takes that idea and just gives it more of what we would expect out of a cologne. That leather note really helps to amp it up, to beef up, especially the dry down, and to give us balance. That was one thing that was kind of missing in the original. There's no balance. It's basically sweet from start to finish. And that type of thing, it works great for fall and winter time. It is a mega compliment puller. I mean, just because it is overly sweet and doesn't smell masculine, for whatever reason, one reason or another, it was still a big compliment puller. Women loved how it smelled and still do, not past tense. But this one is going to be more appealing to those who just want something that's kind of reworked, maybe in a better way. I would argue that this is the more refined version. It's just more polished and overall probably makes more sense to more people. Again, you know, the original's great. I still like it. I still recommend it. but this one to me, it does make more sense. Great price point, really strong performer here. It's an easy 9-10 hour longevity scent on my skin. I think a lot of people are going to get something similar as well, and it projects pretty heavily also. Moving on to the next one, we have Dumont Nitro Red. This is the intensely version with the fancy magnetic cap. That's one thing that I like. It's subtle, but they made an improvement, really. I mean, the original Nitro Red really did well. It was by far the most popular Dumont fragrance, at least as far as I'm aware, or at least definitely the most popular Dumont Nitro, right? And did super well. And they came out with the intensely version, and they upgraded the presentation a little bit here. Again, it's such a small detail, but it shows that they're not afraid to make improvements. This one has melon, apple, peach, sea salt, and amber. So you're still getting that melon, you're still getting all the fruits and citruses that you get from the original Nitro Red, and you're still getting that sea saltiness and the ambergris or amber, ambroxan, whatever you want to call it. More of a sweeter type of blue amber / ambergris, at least is how it is presented in my opinion. It's not like a sweet and syrupy amber or anything like that. So you're not seeing too many differences from note breakdown to note breakdown, and you don't really see too many differences in terms of actual smell either. So what they're doing with this is simply just taking that existing best-selling, popular, and proven DNA and amping it up. Now we've got a true extrait concentration here, and it performs even better than the original, which I've got to say also, the original was not a poor performer. It's actually a very strong scent, but this one is next level. So it's kind of one of those situations where if you have the original, you probably don't need this right away. You can hold off. If you don't have the original, I would dive straight into the intensely. I think price point on this is around, I don't know, 35, maybe pushing 40. Now, you can use my code CHAOS10 over at Perfume Box and save 10% off everything site-wide. So you're going to be able to knock some, about $4 or so roughly off of the price of a bottle of this. I don't know what the perfume concentration is on this. Most brands don't advertise that unless you're Amouage, and doing those type of scents, but I would wager that it's high, because when you spray this stuff on, it is oily, it is heavy, and this stuff will last and project all day and all night. It is remarkably strong. Definitely highly recommended. This next one is Mercedes-Benz Le Parfum. These car designer brands, they can pump out some really good fragrances. Usually I kind of find that they're either really good or really bad. You got some in-between ones every now and then, of course, and it also depends on what brand it is. Mercedes-Benz is one of the better brands. They've done Club Black and Club Extreme and a few others that are just phenomenal. But, every now and then you'll get one that is just kind of really bad and not worth it at all. Not the case at all with this one. This one has oud, violet leaf, and amber. So interesting combination. A woody, kind of slightly smoky and earthy oud note, but then with this light, bright, fresh, and clean green violet leaf. It's interesting because violet leaf itself gives off oftentimes kind of a watery feel or a watery texture. Not so much a watery smell, like it's not an aquatic note, but it gives off the impression of a watery type of smell, oftentimes depending on how it's used and what it's used with. A little bit here, but also it's kind of green as well and fresh, and you can smell violet leaf from a mile away. It's a very unique note. And same thing with oud. If it's a relatively realistic smelling oud note, you can pick that out pretty easily too. And this is using both, but it's, again, the word balance comes into play. You've got a darker oud, and then you've got nice fresh violet leaf. It is kind of juggling both sides here perfectly. And that amber's thrown in here as well. I believe some patchouli also, although I could be wrong on that one. I kind of almost feel like I get a little bit of patchouli. Definitely get some other sweet notes that are not coming from the oud, like maybe a little bit of a tonka, maybe a tiny bit of like a vanilla. But again, I'm not reading notes at this point. That's just kind of what I feel like I'm picking up on, just smelling it off the atomizer here, off the dry down. But that's kind of where this one sits. Something unique, and that's what I love. This doesn't really smell like anything else from the brand or just from what I own in general, so it does stand out. Price point usually around 45, maybe right there on the line at 50. I know you can get testers and save some money, although Testers don't come with a cap. That's the only downside. So, you can save maybe $5 or a little bit more, but it's going to look like this. If you're okay with that, that's great. The caps are pretty cool though, so take your pick there. All right, this next one definitely is cheap. I think we're looking at about $20 here for Antonio Banderas, the Icon. This is the Eau de Parfum version. The Eau de Toilette is great as well. It's affordable, even cheaper than this, and great performing Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette type of cologne. This one has patchouli, lavender, and vanilla as some of the main focal points here. Smells nice. Now, this is not Sauvage, so this one kind of takes a completely different approach. And to be honest with you, I don't really know what this is a clone of, if anything. Honestly, it's not jumping out at me, never really has. It kind of just has this more musky, masculine, mature type of smell, I will say. It's not like super unique. This is something where when you smell it, it just has this common smell where it's like, I can't pinpoint exactly what it smells like or what it's reminding me of, but it's something that I feel like I've smelled before somewhere, or at least I've smelled something similar to it somewhere. And you'll see what I mean when you try it out. Now, at this price point, 20 bucks, from Antonio Banderas, which, not hating on the brand, but they're not up there with the big dogs like Chanel and YSL and Azzaro and Ferragamo even. I'm not expecting wonders here, but I will say, for the money, it is a really solid, great performing scent. This is the type of thing, again, that just gets the job done. We're not looking for any fancy bells and whistles here. We're just looking for a wearable cologne that you can pick up for next to nothing, that's going to last through the day, it's going to smell great and get compliments, and that's just going to be actually usable. And this checks off all those boxes, and that's why I threw it in. This next one's actually a little bit unique and surprised me a lot. It's Coach Green. So I believe now this one has worked its way down to around like $39, I think I saw when I was looking this morning. So really solid price point there. This one has kiwi, oak moss, rosemary, and bergamot. So it's just kind of a woody-based, fruity, and very much green type of scent. From that oak moss, you're getting that kiwi, that nice aromatic rosemary note, a bit of that kind of bright bergamot off the opening. It's great for spring wear mostly. Now, you can probably work this one into summer if you wanted to. You could work this in fall. Winter would be my first choice, but for a green scent, I'm picking spring any day of the week. But it works really well for that time of year. Also, a great performer, a great quality scent, and like I mentioned, to introduce this one, kind of unique. This one stands out in a cool way. It separates itself a lot from the existing Coach lineup. Last up for this video, we're going to finish off with a cheapy winter scent. It is Rabanne Ultra Red. So you can see Ultra Red Man, Paco Rabanne. I think 28 to 30 bucks, somewhere around in there. This one has blood orange, praline, and tonka bean. That does smell nice. It has this very sweet, but at the same time, slightly fruity opening coming from that blood orange. It's really pretty interesting when you smell this one, and it's cool the direction that they took with it. Because yeah, it is sweet from that praline and tonka, but it does have some woody support. It has, again, that blood orange kind of citrusy / fruity support as well. So it kind of is doing a few different things at once here. Also, and again, I wish I would have looked at the full note breakdown, a patchouli accord. I would bet money on this one. You can really smell something that is more woody, more green, more masculine and mature smelling. That's the main thing. As sweet as this one goes, there is actually kind of a mature accord to it, which is surprising, but it's there and it helps to keep this one grounded as well. So I already mentioned that price point. It's going to be, you shouldn't be paying more than $50 for this, definitely. And I think most of the time you can get it for under 40 as well. Strong performer, 9-10 hour longevity, really good projection given how loud and sweet it is. Definitely worth checking. Alrighty guys, there you go. Some cheap fragrances that will last for a very long time. Great performance for great prices. Links to each and every one of these will be down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.